Hello, welcome, acquaintances, friends, enemies. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I know you're watching this. I am David Hume, and as I like to say, a wise man proportions his belief on evidence, and therefore I am about to provide you with the most factual evidence that you will ever need to deduce that Jean-Jacques Rousseau is a living nightmare on this earth. Now, I am not only personally attacking him, but I'm also attacking his invalid ideas and philosophical theories that we're about to run through quite quickly. So after I had agreed to house Rousseau, my philosopher friends warned me. They told me, no, Hume, Rousseau is not a good guy. Rousseau is not good. Do not house him. Do not go near him because he will be the end of you. At first, all seemed well. Rousseau was one of the most popular novelists, so I figured it couldn't hurt to have friendly relations with him, I guess, a win-win situation. I don't know. So I had roomed with him for quite some time. I was kind of getting tired of him. I was. But I didn't want to give the impression that I was getting tired of him. So when communicating with my French philosopher friends, I wouldn't really give it away, but I would give subtle messages that I was starting to get fed up with Rousseau, even though in my letters I said I could live with this man for the rest of my life without having a single quarrel, which was a lie. After he had told me the city life wasn't the life for him, I worked day in and day out to try and find him a quiet place in the countryside where he would get more privacy and better writing time, and I did find him a place in the countryside. After a little while of him living in the countryside, I heard that Rousseau was found out. Something about his letters being intercepted or something like that. I don't even know. I don't know. And the next thing I know, Rousseau is out here blaming me for getting caught. I don't know where that came from because I brought this man. When he was in a time of need and despair, I held him in my home. I sucked it up and I held him in my home. And when he wasn't satisfied with my house anymore, I found him another place to stay. And he's over here blaming me for exposing his location. Why would I work so hard to find you a place to stay, only to ruin my hard work and get you found out? Whatever. Trying to throw me under the bus for something I didn't do. In less than a year, my relationship with Rousseau had gone from the love we had for each other for that week to mockery. You had read of the original contract, you would know that I criticized those philosophers that believe that the foundation of government is consent. It doesn't sound like he should be writing things based on fact. Something that he wants people to believe. Basing it on imagination and feeling. Who in their right minds would read that and sit there and be like, yes, I'm gonna believe what this guy has to say? However, on the contrary, I am a man of reason. I am an empiricist. I believe in facts and evidence. I don't base my reason behind feelings. Why would you even do that? Essentially, Rousseau was dumb. Uneducated. Yeah, he was good at writing his love novels. They were good for those, housewives of the 1700s. He didn't know how to think. Rousseau only knew how to feel, and he wrote from his feelings, not from his brain. So how could one, if one possesses common sense, ever seriously believe what Rousseau had to say? Consent? Consent? How could you ever think that a government is based on consent? You stupid, honestly. Like, if Rousseau had any remote education, he'd know about history. History. Not the primitive state that he made up himself, but going many years back and looking what they did many years back rather than creating it with a spoof of imagination, he would know that consent is not actually the basis or the foundation of government. It's conquest, usurpation, but consent? I mean, I won't disagree with him. Consent is rather important to keep a government running because you want to sustain the power that you have, and to do that, you'd want your people to follow you. But obviously, the people are going to follow you if you usurp the standing government or you attain it by conquest. If Rousseau would look abroad into the world, he would meet with nothing that, in the least, corresponds to his ideas of consent, or can warrant so refined and philosophical a system. On the contrary, we find everywhere princes who claim their subjects as property and assert their independent right of sovereignty. We find also everywhere subjects who acknowledge this right in the prince. But nowhere here is the concept of consent found. You know, it's I conquest this, I am now the leader, you will follow what I have to say. Also, the agreement to enter the social compact, if it happened ever, happened so long ago that it would literally be irrelevant now. I don't want to just sit here and throw Rousseau's ideas in the garbage because I'll admit that there was some thought that went into them, and yes, I agree that consent is important, but I do not agree that consent is the foundation or the basis of any government. I do agree that education is one of the things that leads to inequality amongst people, like Rousseau believed. But contrary to Rousseau, I believe that this is a good inequality, one that drives competition and improves our world. Without education, we may one day live in a world full of Rousseaus, and that would truly be the end of the world if everyone was that stupid. For I now conclude with Rousseau stinketh. Thank you all so much for listening to my side of the story of my nightmare roommate. Hume out. What was I even going to say? With his philosophical theories as well. Philosophical. Rousseau, I am filming.
This is so hard.
It is. It's hard. I'm going to keep this in my video.
Huh?
I'm going to keep this interaction in my video.
Oh. This is so hard.
I'm sweating.
I keep messing up.
Me too, but I don't have a script, so I'm just like reading from here what I have to say. It's just the worst.
How do you start it? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
No, I started with a quote from David Hume, and I said that I, David Hume, am going to fill them in on the most factual evidence that they need to know what a nightmare you are. Where is your beard? I can't see it. You're like someone that works in Silicon Valley.
So I started like, hey guys.
Hey sisters.
Did I say hey sisters? Hey philos. Hey philos.
Philosophs.
Hey fellow philos.
Philos.
Hey fellow philos.
Philosophes.
Hey fellow philosophs. Today I'm going to talk to you about my nightmare roommate.
Yeah.
Mr. David Hume. Like,
No. You should start off by saying, a man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. No, a man is born free, but in David Hume's house he is in chains.
And then what say after that?
This is the story
of
my terrible experience.
Okay, bye.
Back to the scheduled programming.